This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
A major step for Major League Baseball in Las Vegas. Welcome in everyone to the Las Vegas Review-Journal studios. I'm your host, Cassie Soto, here with breaking news. The Oakland A's making a step to potentially relocate. The organization has zeroed in on Southern Nevada, signing a binding agreement for land just west of the Strip. Let's dive into what we know so far. The agreement is for 49 acres at Dean Martin Drive and Tropicana Avenue, owned by Red Rock Resorts, parent company of Station Casinos. Red Rock Resorts, which owns 100 total acres at the former site of the Wild Wild West property, will still control about 50 acres of land in the area once the land deal is finalized. Now, the deal is for land only, with the A's having an option to purchase an additional 8 acres at a later date. A's president Dave Kaval said a $1.5 billion, 30,000-seat, partially retractable roof stadium would be built on the site, and that an ancillary development, including but not limited to food and beverage establishments and even an amphitheater, are also in the cards. So lots of potential when it comes to the actual build-out of the stadium. Joining me now in studio is Review-Journal sports business reporter Mick Akers. Mick, thanks so much for taking some time. Obviously, a lot of information there. So let's just start with what this binding agreement means. Is it a done deal, or are there still quite a few steps the A's and Las Vegas need to take?
Yeah, this is like the first of many steps. So this just holds the land for them. Right now, obviously, Stations is like, hey, we have this plot of land, perfect for a ball site. Here it is. We're going to put a placeholder on it for you right now. There's stipulations basically hindering on what the A's can get out of the legislature. They're going to be looking for some kind of tax, finance district to go around that to help finance the building of this massive stadium here. So that's going to be the next step. So if they get some form of that approved, then they move to having the design ready and kind of showing that off and renderings and such. Then they go to Major League Baseball, apply for relocation, and if that gets approved by Major League Baseball, which they're going to waive the potentially $1 billion relocation fee, so it seems like they're on board already. And then that's like, hey, we're going to do the groundbreaking. So they're hoping all this transpires over the next year because they have a January 2024 deadline to have a binding agreement for a stadium. So, a lot of work will have to take place between now and December.
Right. And what can you tell us about this land, the Wild Wild West land? I believe it closed down in September or so, that casino site. We had heard about the Tropicana site. We had heard about the festival ground site. What do we know about this land area and the relation into Allegiant Stadium, and what do fans need to know about it?
Yeah, so obviously it was a former smaller casino just off the Strip. It's kind of run down, so they finally said, hey, let's put it into this thing. So now it's just a pile of dirt there. They also have a lot of land where they park flatbed trucks and semis, similar to what's going on at Howard Terminal in Oakland. So it's kind of the weird juxtaposition there. So they got that going on. So right now that's all it is right now. So it's not being used. Obviously, it's valuable land right off the Strip. So it's just for the land. It wouldn't be a partnership with Stations. They're going to still own 50 acres of land on that site once this deal is finalized. I'm not sure what their plans are, but they had long-term plans of putting a mega resort there, which just takes half of that land away, but still, that's enough land to build some kind of resort. So you would have to think that kind of makes that a little bit more viable. So right now, just a slab of dirt, but it might end up having a stadium, additional amphitheater, restaurants, bars, and maybe even a resort.
Well, I've lost track of how long that this whole back and forth with Las Vegas and Oakland, has been going on. I know you've been on it since you have visited Oakland and have been on this since day one. What can you just tell us about this process? I know a lot of fans specifically thought that maybe the A's were using Las Vegas as a ploy, just as a decoy to get what they wanted in Oakland. What can you tell us now about the back and forth and why it required so much time to get to this point?
Yeah, so this actually all started in 2009, well before Rob Manfred was the commissioner then. It was Bud Selig. He said, hey, we need to get a new stadium out here, and that was back in 2009. He pushed that until he went out of power in 2015 when Manfred came in, so he kind of took over the reins. That's when they started pushing the Howard Terminal. about 2001 in May is when Vegas came in. That's when Manfred said, hey, we're not really getting anywhere with this Howard Terminal thing. How about you guys go, venture off and see what you can get elsewhere? Las Vegas has been the only city they've looked into. So this is 2 years of work. And since then, they've also been working with the city council in Oakland and some of the other politicians out there trying to get a deal done at that $12 billion Howard Terminal. July 2021, the city council approved their own version of a term sheet for that project, which the A's had many issues with. And since that time, they've been trying to work those out, but they still have the same ones, basically with off-site infrastructure and then affordable housing inclusion. So 2 years, no real progress there. That's when they're like, all right, we're going to shift over to Vegas, and that's what led to this site announcement.
Got it. Well, I recently attended the Aviators home opener at Las Vegas Ballpark, the AAA affiliate of the Oakland A's, and I asked some fans for their thoughts on the possible relocation of the franchise. Here's what a few of them had to say.
I mean, I think it's a really good possibility for Vegas to grow as a sports community. I don't know what's going to happen to the Aviators if that happens, but I'm excited to see.
I'd like to see them building new stadium here and come to Vegas, because you look at, I'm a Raider fan, I have Raider season tickets, and when you look at how successful the Raiders have been in that stadium, I think the fans, like they do for Raider games, will come to Vegas to not only see Vegas and do the Vegas thing, but also see their baseball teams too.
I love the Aviators, and the Oakland A's will be welcome here when they get here. We'll welcome them with open arms. We love them.
Well, there you have it. Las Vegas fans are very excited for the possibility of the Oakland A's coming here to Las Vegas. As we wrap up here, Mick, just tell us one more time, what's next now that this binding agreement has been made official?
Yeah, so now the A's are going to focus their attention up north in the legislature, trying to get some kind of tax deal. Not going to be a room tax, from what I'm told. Like the Raiders got $750 million, and money to go towards the building of the $2 billion Allegiant Stadium, more along the lines of a tax district. That's kind of been talked about, I'd say, a better part of a year. First brought up by the LCBA's Steve Hill. He said that's probably the best way for them to go about it, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. That goes through the summer, the session, so obviously we'll find out here pretty soon. There's just a few months left in that. From there, if they get anything near what they're looking for, that's when they go, all right, we're going to finalize this site agreement with stations. Then they'll start developing the actual plans, get some of those permits and all that kind of building permits, planning permits, all that approved, put out the renderings, say here's what's going to look like. Then they go to Major League Baseball, say, hey, we want to relocate to Las Vegas. Then they have to officially approve it, which seems like it's highly likely that would be approved. Then they go, okay, we're going to break ground, which they're hoping to do in early 2024. Build that thing over a course of about 3 years and have it ready to play ball in 2027.
So basically what you're telling us, Mick, is no days off for you until 2024.
Yeah, that's the way it's tracking. So, but hey, I wouldn't have it any other way. So.
Awesome stuff, Mick. Thank you so much. Well, we will continue to follow this story as it develops. Be sure to follow Review Journal on all social channels, and be sure to catch our wrap-up of today's events at the 7 at 7 newscast at lvrj.com. He is Mick Akers. I'm Cassie Soto. Thank you so much for joining us.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.